Hello everyone, today we're going to be jumping back into Historic Brawl with my favorite commander for presenting our opponents with a terrible choice. At the beginning of our end step with Braids Arisen Nightmare, we can sacrifice an artifact, creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker. And when we do, each opponent can sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it, or they could lose 2 life and let us draw a card. Now, some of the times we're going to be forcing that choice onto the 2 life draw card mode by choosing a permanent to sacrifice that our opponent doesn't have one that shares a type with. But in either way, we're either putting our opponent behind or we're getting ahead and draining our opponent, which is excellent for our game plan of incrementally damaging our opponent and eventually forcing out the win. Keeping in tune with the idea of sacrificing our permanents, we've got a lot of creatures and artifacts that are going to give us additional value once they've died. Some of the standout cards for synergizing with Braids is Jadar the Ghoul Caller here. This is going to make a creature for us to sacrifice each turn for free. That means we're not going to have to invest any cards in getting those permanents. Similarly, we have Dreadhorde Invasion. Now, it will cost us 1 life to amass, but if our opponent doesn't have any creatures, they're going to be paying 2 life and giving us a card for that, and that's a trade that we're more than willing to make. We've got things like Perilous Mirror, which has death triggers, Mirror Sire, which will replace itself, and a whole bunch of other creatures that do a similar thing. Another really fun card in this deck is Treacherous Blessing. This is going to let us draw 3 cards and has absolutely no downside because we'll sacrifice it immediately. At the top end, this is where we have some of our 4 fun slot-in cards. We've got Breach the Multiverse. Our opponent's going to be sacrificing a lot of creatures over the course of the game, so getting some of those back onto the battlefield under our control is going to be great. Ugin makes those spirit tokens, and we can make them leave the battlefield whenever we want them, kind of picking cards to draw. We also have Liliana Dreadhorde General. This similarly is going to make us tokens that we can sacrifice, force our opponents to sacrifice creatures, and if we ever are able to -9, that's going to go ahead and end the game. Now that we've had a chance to take a look at this, let's go ahead and see how this deck does. If you have any ideas for a deck you'd like to see next, make sure you let me know in a comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and subscribe. Let's go. Alright, game 1 into Vorinclex. Let's go ahead and keep. This looks like a good starting hand. We got the Shambling Ghast turn 1, high value creature. Ichor Wellspring, also good. Gonna give us multiple cards to draw. This is a great starting curve. Let's see what our opponent starts with. Opponent starts with a Gilded Goose. No use swinging out this turn since they could just block, so we'll just play out the Wellspring. Draw a card. Get the Meat Hook Massacre. This is going to be an excellent card into this deck. If our opponent's able to build a board, we can clear it fairly easily. Right. Almost swings in for 0, but doesn't. Smart choice. We can go ahead and play the Braids. And now the decisions begin. We're going to start by sacrificing Ichor Wellspring. So we're going to choose this. Our opponent does have an artifact that they can sacrifice, but they want that mana. We are also going to be able to draw 2 cards off that, which is absolutely amazing value. Next turn, we're going to have access to 4 mana. I think we might go for the Chainer's Torment. Our opponent seems to be playing slow, ramping towards a bigger creature. So I think this is going to be a very strong way to get a large threat on the board that our opponent won't be able to deal with. So let's start here, Chainer's Torment. And then we're going to sacrifice our Shambling Ghast here, convert that into a treasure token. It's going to let us ramp up to Eldest Reborn next turn, perhaps, if we don't draw an untapped land. Moving to combat, we're going to swing in for 3 with Braids. No blocks, which makes sense to me. Let's go ahead and sacrifice our Shambling Ghast. Okay. They also choose to lose the life. Opponent's down at 16 already. This is definitely not ideal for them. We won't be cycling the Moor here. Alright, opponent plays out Vorinclex. If we draw an untapped land, we might just play Ugin. I think that would be very funny. Alright, they kill Braids. That's fine by me. Let's go ahead and take action. Onto my turn. We do not draw the land. Now, what can we do here? I think we're just going to go ahead and cast our Eldest Reborn. They'll sacrifice the Gilded Goose. Yep. Very easy choice. Play the tap land. Next turn, we're going to make a huge horror. I don't think our opponent's going to be able to deal with that cleanly. Alright, yep. Opponent's ramping a whole bunch. There's the invasion. Alright. We do draw another land here. Let's make our 15/15 horror. Opponent's gonna discard a card. And I think we just play out Ugin and go ahead and kill their Vorinclex.
I can create or destroy.
Okay. Then we'll play out our Prism for free. Draw that extra card. Next turn's gonna be really good for us. Again, I don't think our opponent's going to be able to deal with the 15/15 creature. That's why I didn't sacrifice our Torment to Braids when we had the chance earlier. This is going to be very strong for us. Opponent might play out Vorinclex again. Alright, nope. They're digging, looking for another answer, and Ulamog is definitely a good answer. Fortunately, we do have Shieldred's Edict, which is great for us. Not too many good cards in the graveyard. I am going to take Allosaurus Shepherd just for fun. I like Allosaurus Shepherd. But let's go ahead and get rid of this creature right here. And let's go ahead and make them choose to sacrifice a non-token creature. That'll be Ulamog. We'll be swinging for lethal in just a moment. Yep, we got it. All right. Alright, up next, on the play, this looks like a hand we can keep. Fatal Push is going to be great into their commander. Keep him off the battlefield. Doom Dissenter is also a good turn 2 play, leading up to Braids. Gives us a creature to sacrifice. Alright, opponent plays a Mountain. And there's Kamano. I'm going to play out the Doom Dissenter. Let's watch him play out his commander here. That would make sense. But he doesn't. Tin Street Dodger instead. No blocks. And he buffs it, taps us out. That's totally fine. If that's the case, let's move to combat. We're gonna play our Braids. Sacrifice here. Alright, opponent made a great choice. We get a zombie, they lose 2 life. Feels pretty good to me. We're gonna have a couple of different options next turn. Sure, opponent kills Braids. That makes sense. Not too concerned. Shieldred is going to be a really powerful card to have in hand. I'm not sure if our opponent's going to be able to cleanly deal with that. Okay, and shocks the zombie. So we didn't draw the land. Let's go ahead and play up the Blood Mage. Draw a card. There we go. Now we're holding up Fatal Push. Now we picked Blood Mage instead of the Familiar here because we did want the card draw this turn to try and hit the land. Now next turn we'll have Shieldred for sure. We'll block the Etching just because we want our death triggers. He'll play out the Rimrock Knight. I think he's too scared to cast his commander. Afraid of removal. Okay, well. Let's see if he can trade advantageously here. If he gives this first strike or something like that. It's possible. Only 2 cards in hand, though. As long as we can survive, we're going to be in a great spot here. Yeah, I think we just kill this. Okay. We'll just have him sacrifice his creature. And we've got it! Alright! Alright, well this is a phenomenal starting hand. We're going to go ahead and keep. The Dark Ritual start is absolutely insane, because we get to do this pro-gamer move. We get Braids, and we're gonna decline. No need to sacrifice our land. Alright. Opponent plays an Allosaurus Shepherd. Let's just remove that. And we do have plenty of lands here, so we'll actually take the sacrifice here. Opponent now has the choice. Perfect. Feed the Swarm. Yeah, this is going to be great for us. As long as we can keep our opponent's board empty and keep swinging in, we're going to be off to a phenomenal start. We'll keep our land this turn. Got Feed the Swarm if they play a blocker. Sure, cycle for a card draw. It's pretty good. We also will have Debt to the Kami next turn. Very nice. Well, we've got a Swarm to feed. Opponent down at 14 already. We're going to keep our land so we can cast our first Shieldred. Maybe we're going to see Goreclaw this next turn. Interesting. Alright. Let's play out our Shieldred. This is going to be better than just getting rid of their creature. Okay. Trigger. Opponent's down at 12. They're going to start reaching the point where they don't get to decide what they do. Opponent plays Goreclaw. Next turn we have our other Shieldred. Gain some life. Let's see who they pick to sacrifice. Goreclaw? Sure, that makes sense. We'll trade our Shieldred. And we'll sacrifice a land now. Another 2. Power Word kill. This is going to be great. We can deal with whatever they play. Debt to the Kami as well. Alright, indestructible there. We can make them exile an enchantment, but they would likely pick their book. Let's go ahead and get rid of their big creature. Move to combat. 3 life left. We'll go ahead and end our turn. We don't need that lantern. They do sacrifice. We'll be able to exile their enchantment next turn. Alright. This is gonna be funny. Sure, yeah, you can fight that for sure. I think we've got it here. Alright, yeah. Kill our big Shieldred, leaves us with a 3/3, and we got it. Alright, taking a look at this starting hand. We're actually going to take the mulligan. I think we can find something that's a little bit better for us in the early game. This is definitely worse for us in the early game, but I don't want to lose out on an extra card, so we'll keep. And start with our first land drop. Murderous Riders, pretty much our only early interaction here. Woe Strider, though, is a very good card. Makes a token. Opponent casts their early free spell. Alright, we got Power Word Kill. Unfortunately, our opponent's commander is a dragon, so we're going to have to use that on something else. Next turn is the turn of choices. I think we're going to go ahead and cast the Woe Strider, though. End the turn. I do want to hit that 4th land drop, so I think we will sacrifice the goat at the end of our opponent's turn. Try and hit that land. But we'll see if they play anything that makes us want to change our mind. If they target the Woe Strider, I mean, I just sacrifice the goat anyway. Yep. Alright. Let's go find ourselves a land for next turn. Yep, don't need the Bone Splinters. Alright, still not a land. Move to combat. Let's play out the Perilous Mirror. This is going to let us scry 1, deal 2 damage with Woe Strider. Opponent's probably going to remove it here. Alright, yeah, that makes sense. Woe Strider now in the graveyard. Alright. This is going to be a Braids turn. And no need to attack, because we'll just sacrifice this. They should sacrifice their creature. I don't see why they wouldn't there, because it's dead anyway, but they saved themselves 2 damage to the face. We got a Shambling Ghast. Alright, they've got removal. That's totally fine by me. We do get the land. Let's go Blood Artist, Doomed Dissenter. It might be... Nope, tap land. Alright. Alright, well, let's go ahead and play out this guy, see if we can start getting some treasures. Swing in for 1. They'll get rid of Woe Strider. Makes the most sense. We're definitely behind on lands here, but I still think we're in a pretty good spot. Uro might be a little problematic. The life gain and acceleration isn't great, but we do have our Blood Artist, so at least we can temper that a little bit. Alright, well, Shieldred time. A pretty good spot. If they want to get rid of the Shieldred, we'll get a treasure token off the Plunderer. That's pretty good. Yep. Growth Spiral. Yep, our opponent does keep ramping. But if they don't start developing any threats soon, they are going to be in trouble. Let's go ahead and move to combat first. Opponent down at 13. Let's go ahead and play the Vindictive Vampire. This is basically like another Blood Artist for us. Keep in mind, we've only been on 4 lands this whole time. Yep. Opponent's going for the life gain because they need it. They will eventually have to resolve a threat. We have Murderous Rider to deal with it, though. If they have a board wipe, we're also dealing a bunch of damage. There's Niv Mizzet. Alright. Yep. That makes sense to me. Get rid of the Shieldred. We do draw a land. But you don't get to keep Niv Mizzet. Let's go ahead and move to combat. Opponent down at 6. Let's play the Shambling Ghast. We do have 5 mana now. We can recast Braids. That could be very good for us. Off the 1 sacrifice, we can make 2 treasures with Shambling Gas, deal 2 damage. Maybe they get rid of Blood Artist here. A whole bunch of options for our opponent. Sure, Mirai's Wake. It's a good card. Opponent does have a counterspell. Okay, Niv miss it again. That's fine by me. We do want to be closing out this game soon, or else our opponent's going to end up with way too much value.
Dispelling phantasms makes me feel good. Don't you hate it when the dead won't stay dead?
Unfortunate to lose our little guy there, but no big deal. Can Braids Doom Dissenter? That feels pretty good. But let's start by moving to combat. I think we just swing at them with 1 with the Doom Dissenter. I don't think they'll block in fear of potential Death Touch. Maybe they do. Alright, that's fine. Alright, we get a treasure token. We do have Breach the Multiverse now. Is there anything good for us to take? We could take the Uro, but I think we're going to wait on that. Let's go with the Obliter... Now, we're going to play up the Braids. Braids is going to be much better. We'll hold up Power Word Kill. Then there we go. Sacrifice. Blood Artist, Vindictive Vampire, and we got it. Alright. This looks like a hand we can keep. Let's go ahead and keep it. No turn 1 play, so we are going to start with our tapped land. See if our opponent tries some ramps here. Yep. Let's play out our invasion. So there's a Stomper. Our opponent hasn't played their land drop yet. They might not have one for this turn. They do. Scrying off the temple down to the bottom. Alright, let's go with the Bastion here. Gonna start stacking our Blood Artist type effects. There's Anissa.
Behold nature's true power.
Alright. Actually, no need to block yet. We'll just take the 3. Well, Meat Hook Massacre. That is going to be really bad for them with Nissa. Let's go ahead and start getting some early value out with our Braids. No attacks. We'll just move to our end step, get rid of our token. He actually sacrifices his creature. Next turn, we'll get a Blood Artist and a Prism to sacrifice. Draw a card, maybe 2. Alright. Swift Up Boots is really good for him, because he can put that on a tally.
It's my turn. Oh, that's
Back to the
nasty.
command zone with Braids.
Rise, my elemental friend.
No blocks. Alright, let's see what we do here. Make ourselves a Blood Artist. Prism. Draw a card. We're not in the best place here.
Let's make this quick. I've got other things to run. No pressure.
Alright.
Harness the elements. Yup, you're going down.
Adding some extra mana. Boots on the land. Interesting. Our opponent 100% should have had it. But I think they want to get the Nissa ultimate off. So we will let them greed for it. No attacks. Conveniently enough, we might just win off Meat Hook Massacre this next turn.
Tell the game what you the land will help
Yep.
us find a way.
Never greed for the ultimate. I think that's going to be the lesson here. They also didn't have too many lands to get. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
Let's get toasty.
12. Yeah. Alright. Well, this is a funny one for us. Let's see what we got. X4? Yeah. Alright, playing into Turgid. This is a starting hand that I can keep. I like having Power Word Kill. We're on the draw as well. I'm good with this. We'll go ahead and keep. Opponent starts with a Fabled Passage. Now, Turgid is going to be a big problem for us, because we do a lot of sacrificing. But we'll see. Ornithopter of Paradise. Go ahead and play out our Arcane Signet. Burnished Heart. Alright, well, let's give Elspeth a Nightmare. I think we get rid of Burnished Heart here. They play out the Turgid, we can kill with Power Word Kill.
I'll have this fight finished before brunch. Drop
Alright,
it.
yeah. Bone Splinters, we'll get rid of that one. Opponent's gonna have almost no cards in hand. We're gonna get rid of Deadly Dispute. They can't cast the Ugin yet. Let's go Woe Strider to get around Liliana's minus. And I'm actually gonna just kill the Ornithopter. I'm gonna try and keep our opponent off that land. Looks like we got it. Alright, here we are playing into the Token Man. Let's go ahead and take a mulligan here. I think we can find a better starting hand. I like having the Bastion here. This is good. We'll go ahead and keep. We'll start with our tap land. Can't cast Bone Splinters without a creature. Get some spare supplies. Draw a card. We're definitely going to hit all of our land drops here. This is great. Let's see. Thinking about destroying our artifact. Maybe he has in a braid? Unsure. We're gonna go for the Bastion here. We get it. Yep. Doing a lot of reading. Alright, well that's pretty good. Let's go ahead and play out our Braids. So we're gonna sack our spare supplies. They're not gonna get rid of their Power Stone Shard. I'm cool if they do, though. We also get more damage by keeping our creature. It's better to have our creature alive next turn to swing in than to just sack it for the 1 damage that it's gonna do off the Bastion.
The multiverse is a paradise of inspiration. What? Like making masterpieces is hard?
Alright. And play out our Noble. No need to destroy a Thopter here. Let's force double blocks. Or not.
I'm scrapping this battle.
Finally get rid of our guy. Think they'll also sacrifice a Thopter? Yep. Target player. Target player. In a pretty good spot. Right, our opponent's probably gonna find a land drop off that. Discards Mystical Dispute. Right? Opponent down at 17. Tapping out for a treasure map. And tapping down their Thopter. Alright, well. I mean, we'll swing out first. Go Woe Strider. Familiar. End the turn. We're gonna sacrifice this little guy. See if he keeps the Thopter. Does not. Passing over to our opponent. Our opponent would have to tap down for their commander. Alright, big score. Make some treasures. In a pretty good spot here, I think. Can swing for 8. $10 if we sacrifice Braids and the Familiar. 11 with the Hoarder. Putting us 2 off. Obviously, we're not going to sacrifice all of our creatures after swinging unless it's for lethal, but looks like we've got a pretty good plan here. I think they're going to scry off the treasure map. I don't see why they wouldn't. Yep. Our opponent does have access to 3 mana. Keeps that on top, though. They do like that card. To my turn. Is our land drop. Opponent down at 5. End the turn. We're gonna sack the Familiar. We'll get a card for sure. And then maybe they'll sacrifice one of their treasures or their artifact. They sacrifice their treasure map. We draw an Ugin. Opponent's down at 4. They definitely need a blocker this turn. Yep. Well, that's good to see. We've got Bone Splinters to deal with that. Or Ugin. Very nice. Let's just draw a card with some life. Dark Ritual. Nice. Alright. Now, what's the best way to do this? I'll actually show you the most fun way. We're gonna play the Ugin. And we're gonna go ahead and... oh, get Shieldred. That's exciting. Let's go ahead and sacrifice this. 1 damage. Feed the Swarm is fine on top. Dark Ritual. Free Shieldred. No attacks. End turn. We're gonna force our opponent to sacrifice a land. No, you can't sacrifice a token. Good. Yep. Alright. And we're about to have it. Treasure token. Well, we'll just sacrifice our Shieldred about it. I mean, sacrifice Braids too, why not? Feed this one. And that way, he has the dignity of killing himself with a Braid. And result. Good game. Alright, here we go. We're gonna take a mulligan here. This is much better. Gonna go ahead and keep. Unfortunately, power word kill with the non-dragon is gonna be a little bit of an issue with this dragon deck. But fortunately for us, dragon decks don't tend to have too many early game plays, which means we're gonna be able to get a lot of value out of our early game. Let's just play our Braids. Next turn, we got some choices. Doom Dissenter, hold up removal. Feels pretty good. We are really looking for a non-dragon creature to kill with power word kill. Alright. Let's go Doom Dissenter. Okay, move to combat. Let's cast the egg. Alright, and then let's upgrade our Dissenter. Pretty good. Right, yep, lots of ramp. Alright, well. Ugin time, I guess. Free barrier. Let's see. We'll pick our land in hand. We just want our opponent to be taking some damage here. They can make lots of dragons, sure. Unfortunately, we do have a lot of removal right now. Yep. Looking good so far. Opponent still has access to 3 mana. Kills Braids. That's fine. Back in the command zone. We've got it, though. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed. As we saw today, Braids is very good at forcing a terrible decision upon your opponent, one where you'll definitely come out on the winning side. She can also execute a couple of different game plans, whether that's being very aggro early and then eking out those last few points of damage with her ability, or whether that's keeping the board clear and making slow, consistent trades with your opponent, always making sure that their board state isn't going to be as strong as yours, getting that incremental win on decks that are more inclined to empty their hand. As always, she can face some weaknesses into control decks that can stabilize. If Braids is kept off the battlefield, it's going to be difficult for you to get all that value. Your hand's going to run empty pretty quick. But aside from that, there are definitely a lot of games that you can pick up wins with. If you enjoyed my content, make sure you like it and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any ideas for a deck that you'd like to see me play, make sure you leave that down below as a comment. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.